Yesterday, a game involving Paige Bueckers, one of the biggest names in college basketball, highlighted a growing divide in terms of fan draw between her and Caitlin Clark. While this was a notable matchup, it wasn't necessarily the biggest game in terms of competition. What became more evident, however, was the difference in fan engagement and the media's role in pushing certain athletes. This isn't a critique of the basketball skills of Paige Bueckers or others, but rather a discussion about the draw these players have in the media and the stands. Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark are often compared, with some claiming that Beckers, or even JuJu Watkins, could be the next big draw in women's basketball. However, the reality is clear. Caitlin Clark has an unparalleled fanbase that is organic, not manufactured. While the media has tried to promote players like Beckers and Watkins, the fan engagement has not matched Clark's. This isn't to say that Beckers and Watkins won't eventually become major draws, but right now, Caitlin Clark has an established, genuine following that is hard to replicate. Take yesterday's game as an example. UConn played in the Bahamas in front of just 500 people. This was a half-empty auditorium that wasn't even a basketball arena but looked more like a stage. The contrast is stark when you think about how Caitlin Clark would pack any venue. If Clark were to play anywhere, even in a small venue like an arena in Belfast, it would be sold out in minutes. Compare that to games where players like Beckers or Watkins play, with far fewer fans in attendance. There's no denying that Caitlin Clark has a magnetic pull that no one else currently in college basketball can replicate. The issue isn't that fans don't care about these players, but rather where and how they choose to spend their money. Fans will pay to see what interests them, and they're not obligated to support every player simply because the media says they should. For example, Paige Bueckers may be a fantastic player, but she simply isn't commanding the same kind of draw as Caitlin Clark right now. The blame shouldn't fall on the fans for not showing up, but rather on the gap between the media hype and the actual fan engagement. Furthermore, it's worth noting that Caitlin Clark's rise wasn't just about media exposure or forced hype. She was able to grow her fanbase organically, and that's a crucial distinction. The WNBA has been attempting to push certain narratives and promote other players, but Clark's success is a result of her raw talent, her playstyle, and the way she connects with fans. This is a phenomenon that we may never see again in college basketball. The comparison to other players like Beckers and Watkins, who are still developing their fanbases, only reinforces the fact that Clark's popularity isn't easily duplicated. The gap between Paige Bueckers, JuJu Watkins, and Caitlin Clark isn't just a matter of skill, but one of audience and connection. Right now, Clark's draw is unmatched, and this is evident when you look at attendance numbers. It's not that Beckers and Watkins won't get there eventually, but it's clear that they are nowhere near the same level of draw as Caitlin Clark at this moment. And that's okay. The fact that women's basketball is gaining more attention, even if it's not to the same level as Clark, is a positive sign. As we look forward, it's important to recognize that while Paige Bueckers and JuJu Watkins have the potential to become major stars, the reality is they aren't there yet. The growth of women's basketball is undeniable, but it's unlikely we'll see another Caitlin Clark-level phenomenon anytime soon. Fans don't need to be blamed for where they choose to spend their attention or money. It's simply the way the game works right now.